A strange new object, one that defies every conventional expectation, is currently speeding through our solar system. Its name is 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object in human history. But this isn't just another comet or asteroid, because what astronomers have now observed is something unprecedented. According to multiple observatories around the world, 3I Atlas has no tail, but appears to have emitted jets that caused it to change direction, and it's become bluer than the sun, without increasing in temperature. Even more baffling, on November 7th, 2025, Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb publicly stated on national television that it maneuvered. And if that's true, then 3I Atlas may not just be a comet. It may be a technological object, a controlled probe. Stay with us, because what happens next could change everything. If you're fascinated by space mysteries, intelligent life, or objects that defy physics, hit that like button and comment where you're watching from. We're diving deep into the data, the controversy, and the questions NASA won't answer. Yet. Back in early September 2025, astronomers using the Atlas survey system in Hawaii detected a faint, fast-moving object entering the inner solar system from a hyperbolic trajectory. That is, it's not bound by our sun's gravity. It came from outside our solar system. Hence the designation 3I Atlas. The third interstellar visitor, following Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019. Initially, it seemed routine. Another object from interstellar space, likely a comet. But then, something strange happened. 3I Atlas passed its perihelion, the closest point to the sun, at around 203 million kilometers. And instead of developing a classic tail like comets do when heated, it instead brightened fivefold and shifted colour, becoming bluer than the sun itself. Now this is significant. The sun has a surface temperature of around 5,800 Kelvin and radiates strongly in the visible yellow-white spectrum. A bluer hue implies a shorter wavelength, meaning hotter radiation, or an unusual material composition. But data from the Virtual Telescope project in Italy, led by Dr. Gianluca Massi, revealed something else. 3I Atlas's spectral data didn't match typical cometary compounds. Instead, it indicated a nickel-rich low-ion structure, more consistent with metallic asteroids, not icy bodies. Here's where it gets weirder. Multiple observatories, including the Galileo Project's Las Vegas field site, noticed that 3I Atlas wasn't simply being pushed by sunlight. Its trajectory deviated, ever so slightly but measurably, from the gravitational arc it should have followed. The object accelerated, not in the direction of its previous momentum, but sideways, as if something inside it pushed. According to Harvard's Dr. Avi Loeb, this would require the equivalent of expelling 5 billion tons of mass volume, yet no debris, no tail, and no gas cloud was observed. And that's the phrase that set the scientific world ablaze. Loeb's now famous statement on Newsmax TV on November 7th, in which he confirmed, with full confidence, that the object maneuvered, has reignited a storm of public curiosity, scientific skepticism, and government silence. Let's break this down. If 3I Atlas did in fact change course without a visible source of propulsion, it represents the most significant astronomical anomaly since Oumuamua, perhaps even more. Because unlike Oumuamua, which was cigar-shaped, dim, and accelerated away from the sun, 3I Atlas is still inbound. And on December 19th, it will pass closer to Earth than Mars. This is not theoretical. This is weeks away. Imagine a solar system model, built with Sky Safari Pro, a visualization tool astronomers use to model orbital trajectories. From above the ecliptic plane, the flat surface on which planets orbit, 3I Atlas enters at a sharp angle, nearly coplanar, meaning it dips into our system on the same plane Earth orbits the Sun. On October 29th, it reached perihelion. On November 6th, brightness increased dramatically. By November 9th, its spectrum had shifted blue, and 7 distinct jets were captured by amateur telescopes, forming a peculiar fuzzy structure with no distinct coma or tail. This already was strange, but the critical moment came as observatories retracked its path and discovered the trajectory no longer matched gravitational-only models. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory using its Horizons database, recorded a non-gravitational acceleration vector, a subtle deviation but real. Traditionally, only two things: natural outgassing, as with icy comets venting gas under solar heat; technological propulsion, as with spacecraft or probes using thrusters. But again, 3i Atlas shows no tail, no coma, no expanding dust plume. Instead, 7 localized jets that somehow produce thrust, not away from the sun, but sideways. And the color shift? Even more unusual. Spectral analysis from the European Southern Observatory in Chile confirmed a nickel-dominant composition. With low volatiles, that means very little water or carbon dioxide ice, the primary source of outgassing. The heat it absorbed from the sun, about 770 watts per square metre, should not have caused that kind of acceleration. The math doesn't add up. At this point, the scientific community split. Some experts, like planetary scientist Dr. Emily Baldwin from the UK, argue this could be an exotic comet with a solid crust, similar to Borisov, but denser. But Dr. Loeb, no stranger to controversy, doubled down. Citing the same data, he stated publicly, "The lack of outgassing combined with trajectory change suggest artificial origin cannot be ruled out." It's a bold claim, but it doesn't stand alone. This object's brightness, composition, and acceleration profile resemble no known natural body, even Oumuamua, which showed anomalous acceleration, had no jets and was already leaving the solar system. But let's add another layer. 3i Atlas's approach vector. Its direction of origin falls within 9 degrees of the famous WOW signal detected in 1977. The WOW signal was a powerful narrowband radio transmission detected by the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio. It lasted 72 seconds and was never repeated. To this day, no known natural source has been identified. Now, Loeb is careful not to equate these directly, but in multiple interviews, he's mentioned the statistical coincidence and the possibility that both could stem from the same stellar region. And when something changes direction in space, without explanation, everything becomes a candidate. Back to the object itself. Current speed estimates place 3i Atlas at nearly 150 kilometers per second. About 3 times faster than Earth's fastest spacecraft, New Horizons. Size, roughly 4 to 5 kilometers in diameter. Not small. Composition, metallic, nickel-rich, low in volatiles, and possibly hollow, according to speculative density modelling from the Galileo project. Shape, irregular, with at least 7 thermal vents or jet points noted by Dr. Massey's team via high-contrast image stacking. And temperature, cooler than the sun, but still emitting bluer wavelengths. A contradiction, unless some form of engineered surface or coatings reflecting or concentrating light. So how has NASA responded? Interestingly, they haven't. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, currently orbiting Mars, was in a unique position to image 3i Atlas at close range as it passed the red planet in late October. Yet as of today, no high-resolution images have been released, and that silence has not gone unnoticed. US Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who sits on the House Oversight Committee, has reportedly requested a classified briefing on the object and is publicly calling for NASA to release all relevant MRO high-rise data. Why the delay? Some insiders speculate that the images, if they exist, may show something too unusual to explain easily. This leads us to the $1 million bet. Dr. Loeb, through the Galileo project, has committed up to $1 million USD in funding toward a potential intercept mission, proposing that if 3i Atlas stays on its current course, it could be intercepted by NASA's Juno spacecraft in March 2026 using a gravity assist maneuver. That mission, if greenlit, would offer a close-up view of the object's surface and potentially confirm whether it's natural, fractured, or even technological. But Juno's trajectory window is narrowing. Every day counts, and time is running out. In the meantime, civilian telescopes, university teams, and independent researchers are tracking 3i Atlas constantly, logging data on its jets, colour fluctuations, and brightness curves. One thing's for sure: December 19th, 2025, the date of closest approach, is now a countdown event for the astronomical world. As we enter the final approach window, the next 3 to 4 weeks will be critical. Radar telescopes like Arecibo's successor facility, currently limited in capacity, Goldstone Deep Space Network, and the Green Bank Telescope may attempt to resolve surface features or detect unusual emissions. The James Webb Space Telescope, though not designed for fast-moving objects, has the sensitivity to detect thermal anomalies if given the correct tracking parameters. And amateur astronomers, armed with backyard equipment and spectral tools, are contributing more than ever, building composite time-lapse videos showing rotational flickers and light curve anomalies that suggest internal symmetry, or perhaps unnatural stabilization. One recent image, shared by an observer in northern Chile, shows a brief pulse of light, too fast to be rotational, too narrow to be a camera glitch. As 3i Atlas streaks through the inner solar system, the response from the scientific world has been anything but quiet. While NASA maintains official silence, Europe, Asia, and independent scientific collectives are ramping up their observational efforts. And the debate has now reached Capitol Hill. On November 12th, a closed-door session of the House Oversight Committee included members of the Galileo Project and aerospace experts. The topic, the upcoming closest approach of 3i Atlas, and the need for full transparency of all related spaceborne data, particularly from NASA's HiRISE camera aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. At the centre of this storm is a single polarising question. Is this object just a natural wanderer? Or something more? We now turn to a constellation-level alignment check using Stellarium, the open-source sky simulation software. On December 19th, from a vantage point over Earth's southern hemisphere, particularly from Chile or southern Australia, 3i Atlas will appear near the constellation Capricornus, very close to Earth in angular distance, but still over 40 million kilometres away. But what makes this visually remarkable is the relative position of the planets. As 3i Atlas approaches, it will cross the ecliptic plane, the flattened path that all the major planets follow around the Sun, and its trajectory will intersect nearly parallel to Earth's orbital velocity. This is not just a slingshot path, it's a controlled-looking interception arc, as if the object were deliberately taking advantage of the solar system's structure. Coincidence? Perhaps. But the precision is unusual. In fact, this exact geometry, combined with the lack of tail and non-cometary behaviour, is fueling a growing chorus of fringe and institutional voices alike who believe that 3i Atlas may not be a passive traveller at all. Let's talk about its jets again. High-contrast enhancement of virtual telescope project imagery shows 7 narrow collimated plumes emerging at steady angles. This is not typical for a comet, which usually displays a fan-shaped outgassing region centered around a sun-facing nucleus. What 3i Atlas exhibits is directional venting, with symmetric placement, more like attitude control thrusters on spacecraft than sublimation from a dirty snowball. This has led some to speculate about internal propulsion systems, possibly non-chemical in nature. What propulsion could operate with zero debris, at high efficiency, in vacuum, with side vectoring, microwave drive, magnetic sail, controlled nanothrust using nuclear decay? These ideas sound like science fiction. But 3i Atlas seems to be mocking fiction. Meanwhile, public awareness is skyrocketing. 3i Atlas is now trending globally on X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Amateur sleuths, backyard astronomers, and even CGI modelers are trying to reconstruct the object's behaviour using public data. One particularly viral video, uploaded on November 14th by an independent analyst in Prague, shows a frame-by-frame orbit deviation simulation using data extracted from JPL's Horizons database. His conclusion: the object's lateral acceleration vector increased by 3% between October 28th and November 9th. Well after perihelion. That timing matters. Comets don't outgas more after perihelion. They fade. But 3i Atlas is brightening, manoeuvring, growing bluer. This suggests something we've never seen before: a post-perihelion active phase, possibly linked to self-directed course correction. Let's return to the data table. Distance from Sun at perihelion, 203 million kilometer apparent acceleration, 10.5 ms2, velocity, 150 km/s, size estimate, 4.2 plus, 0.6 km spectral type, nickel dominant, low ion temperature. 500K surface but blue shifted reflectance rotation period. Unknown, possibly stabilized. Mass loss required for observed acceleration. 5 billion metric tons. Tail. None jets. 7 visible color. Bluer than G2V star. Sun. Any one of these would raise questions, but taken together, they form a constellation of anomalies that's impossible to ignore. Let's dive deeper into the color anomaly. Traditionally, cometary color is influenced by the release of diatomic carbon, C2, cyanogen, CN, and other short-lived molecules that fluoresce under solar UV. This produces a greenish or greyish hue, but 3I Atlas is emitting light bluer than the Sun, without signs of those molecules in its spectrum. Instead, narrowband spectroscopy shows broadband reflectivity at short wavelengths, with a sharp drop-off in the red. Consistent with metallic reflectors, or engineered surfaces designed to reflect UV blue while absorbing IR. One speculative theory from a researcher at the University of Vienna posits that the object may be coated in photonic crystals, designed to regulate thermal absorption. Why? To survive close solar passes without burning up. In other words, it's not just manoeuvring, it might be protecting itself. Proposes that 3I Atlas is a comet composed of extremely low volatile ices, possibly oxygen-trapped metals, that vent only under extreme heating. The jets could be crystalline phase changes, not gas jets. The colour is attributed to surface metallurgy combined with solar radiation. Main problem: no known comet matches this behaviour after perihelion, suggests a nickel-rich asteroid possibly ejected from a supernova-enriched system. Lacks volatiles but carries internal structural features that fracture under tidal forces, producing jets. Acceleration is said to be due to irregular thermal pressure. Main problem: directional acceleration requires a symmetry that hasn't been observed. The object is not natural. It may be a probe, remnant, or drifting vessel. Jets are actual propulsion vents. Coloration is from engineered materials. Acceleration is deliberate. The blue shift is a byproduct of artificial shielding or thrust signature. Main problem: extraordinary claims, lack of confirmed artificial structure. And yet, all three explanations have gaps. As of November 25th, none fully fits the data. This leads us to the next major controversy. Why is NASA not releasing more data? Despite repeated inquiries, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the HiRISE imaging team aboard Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter have refused to publish any imagery of 3I Atlas taken during its close approach to Mars. The reason? Still under review, according to a JPL spokesperson. But leaks tell another story. An anonymous source, reportedly from within NASA Ames Research Center, shared with a scientific journalist that the object did not behave like anything we expected, and there's still debate over what we're looking at. Representative Anna Paulina Luna is now pushing for full declassification of any and all flyby imagery. What are they hiding? And now let's look to the skies. In the coming weeks, observational campaigns will ramp up worldwide. Here's what we know is scheduled. November 30th, December 7. Coordinated optical tracking by Las Cumbres Global Telescope Network. December 5, attempted radar ping by Goldstone, if object can be tracked accurately. December 12th, possible infrared pass by James Webb Space Telescope. December 15th, 19, global live tracking events by Virtual Telescope Project. December 19th, closest approach, expected at 43 million kilometres. This window will define everything. If 3I Atlas ejects fragments, splits, releases smaller objects, or even flashes in visible wavelengths, it may confirm active internal processes. If it suddenly changes course again, we'll have more questions than ever. At the same time, the Galileo project is doubling down. Loeb and his team are reportedly preparing a remote sensing campaign involving ground-based infrared monitoring, polarization analysis, and even spectral anomaly tracking to detect non-standard emissions. And yes, they're also preparing to recommend Juno maneuver toward 3I Atlas in early 2026 if trajectory data allows. Remember, March 16, 2026 is the calculated intercept window. But mission approval would need to happen by early January to make orbital alignment possible. Will NASA act in time, or will it be private researchers? with backyard scopes and open source software. Who discovered the truth? Whatever happens, one thing is clear. Something is coming, and it doesn't behave like anything we've seen before. If 3I Atlas is natural, it is the most exotic interstellar object ever observed. If it's not, then someone built it, and they built it to last. Perhaps this is an ancient remnant. Perhaps it's still active. Perhaps it's passing by Earth not by chance, but by choice. The answer may lie in the jets, in the spectrum, in the silence of the agencies watching. And as we move toward December 19th, the clock is ticking. We are now officially in countdown mode. As of today, November 25th, 2025, 3I Atlas is just 24 days from its closest approach to Earth. On December 19th, it will pass within 43 million kilometres, putting it well inside the orbits of Mars and Venus. And that's not just close by cosmic standards. It's historically close for an interstellar object. Neither Oumuamua nor Borisov came anywhere near this proximity. For the first time in human history, we may witness an interstellar visitor not just fly past, but possibly do something while being watched. In real time, multiple space agencies are now converging on a single goal. Capture the moment. Let's break down what's planned between now and the flyby. The Las Cumbres Observatory Network, a series of robotic telescopes across 6 continents, begins an all-sky continuous survey for pre-flyby outbursts, fragmentations, or unexpected spectral lines. The Goldstone Deep Space Network, operated by NASA, plans to attempt radar imaging if object reflectivity is sufficient. Radar could provide the first surface topography ever captured from an interstellar object. High-priority observation slots at the James Webb Space Telescope are reserved to capture infrared emissions seeking thermal anomalies or surface heat patterns. The Virtual Telescope project will provide live global coverage via stacked imagery. Led by Dr. Gianluca Massi, they'll broadcast updates as the object makes its closest pass. 3I Atlas makes its closest approach to Earth. Now here's the real mystery. What happens at that moment? Astronomers are preparing for 4 major outcome scenarios, each of which could radically shift our understanding of interstellar phenomena, or even open the door to extraterrestrial technology. Let's walk through them. In this scenario, 3I Atlas behaves like a late sublimating comet. As it moves away from the Sun but nears Earth, internal pressure causes it to crack or split. We'd see pieces break off, brightness would spike. A tail could finally form, jets would dissipate, and it would fade into the distance. A strange but natural comet. Manoeuvring was sublimation under surface crust, blue colour due to exotic surface minerals. This is the mainstream theory, and what many at NASA are unofficially still betting on. This explanation assumes 3I Atlas is a nickel-rich, volatile pore chunk of a shattered planetesimal, ejected from another solar system billions of years ago. Its surface behaves strangely due to supernova remnants, exotic radiation exposure, or unknown erosion dynamics in interstellar space. We'd see no outgassing, but irregular reflectance. No tail, no breakup, constant brightness, possibly dense core, no manoeuvring. Acceleration due to asymmetric thermal radiation, a unique but non-artificial object. This is the scientific compromise theory, exotic but explainable. In this scenario, 3I Atlas is not a rock, not a comet, not a fragment. It's an artificial object, active or dormant, designed to traverse solar systems, possibly long abandoned, possibly still functional. As it nears Earth, it may activate additional jets, eject a small satellite or probe, emit radio or laser signals, change course slightly, or even decelerate. Earth just observed its first interstellar technology. The maneuver was real and intentional. Loeb's theory vindicated. The Galileo project enters history books. This is the dream scenario for SETI, and it's fueling massive public interest. Some fringe researchers, particularly in underground astrophysics circles, propose that 3I Atlas may be a dispersed object, possibly an encapsulated cluster of smaller nodes that will activate or separate during the flyby. Supporters of this theory point to the unusual 7-jet pattern, lack of rotational data, precise ecliptic-aligned trajectory, sudden brightening after perihelion. In this view, 3I Atlas could bloom during its closest approach, like a technological dandelion, releasing data collectors, seed probes, or something unknown. What it would mean: artificial intelligence, not just alien origin. Self-replicating machines could exist in our galaxy. Earth was possibly being pinged, not visited. This theory is speculative, controversial, and deeply unsettling. So what are governments doing? As we've mentioned, Representative Anna Paulina Luna has requested a formal review of NASA's data withholding, particularly around high-rise images. On November 20th, she submitted a formal inquiry to the House Science Committee demanding the immediate release of Mars orbiter. Imagery, clarification on what ground-based assets have seen, transparency on any non-natural behaviour detection protocols. But as of today, no new images, no official explanation. Loeb, in a Harvard Gazette interview, hinted at internal pushback. We've seen this before. With Oumuamua, there's a resistance to unfamiliar ideas in science, but that's exactly where the breakthroughs happen. And now a deeper question: if 3i Atlas is a probe, who sent it? Let's speculate. Responsibly. Sent millions of years ago. Dormant until now. A relic of a vanished civilization. A passive detector. Meant to gather data on solar systems. Activates when certain conditions are met. On deliberate path toward inner planets. Controlled or automated. May respond to Earth's technological signals. Not manned. Self-replicating or autonomous. More AI than ET. Again, speculative. But this is where many quiet SETI researchers are now leaning. And with Loeb's $1 million intercept proposal still under review, the stakes have never been higher. Meanwhile, a curious trend is emerging. Across amateur astronomy forums, radio listening communities, and small university labs, strange bursts of activity have been noted in the 1 to 3 GHz range, particularly in the last week. Nothing confirmed. But some point to an uptick in non-repeating narrowband radio pulses, coinciding with 3i Atlas's current position. Near the plane of the ecliptic below Capricornus. Too early to say. Could be terrestrial interference. Could be noise. But if this pattern intensifies as we approach December 19th, it could mark a signalling event, or at minimum, an invitation to listen. In summary, we are days away from a cosmic mystery unfolding in real time. A 4-kilometre object from interstellar space, faster than any human-made probe, manoeuvring without a tail, and growing bluer by the day. If it breaks up, we'll know. If it manoeuvres again, we'll see it. And if it releases something, we may no longer be alone in the passive sense, we may become participants. In just 24 days, every telescope, radar dish, and infrared eye will turn to one singular target, 3i Atlas. On December 19, 2025 at 08:42 UTC, an object from deep interstellar space will pass closer to Earth than Mars. It's called 3i Atlas, and it might just be the most mysterious object humanity has ever encountered. It maneuvers without a tail, it emits jets without melting, it glows bluer than the sun. And some experts, including Dr. Avi Loeb of Harvard, believe it may be technological. So what happens during the flyby? Here's a minute-by-minute breakdown of what to expect. The Virtual Telescope project in Italy will begin live streaming. Multiple sites across Europe, Chile, and Hawaii will coordinate sky tracking. Radar dishes like Goldstone and Greenbank will go live, searching for radar echoes. Infrared and optical systems begin final imaging bursts. Polarization filters activate to detect surface changes. Spectral sweeps begin looking for anomalies in emission lines. Distance from Earth, 143.2 million kilometer angular size, 0.8 arc seconds, still point-like but trackable. Eventual data delay, 2.4 minutes due to light speed lag. If anything is going to happen, this is the window. Possible indicators: brightness surge jet, activation course, correction fragment, ejection, light pulse or signal. As we approach this moment, theories are reaching a fever pitch. Will it split? Will it turn? Will it flash? Or will it do nothing at all? Let's explore the final 5 possibilities that scientists, and yes, some insiders, are quietly preparing for. 3i Atlas is technological, but non-responsive. It may be long abandoned or waiting for a different activation queue. Flyby reveals no change, just a relic moving on. Evidence: controlled acceleration, spectral anomalies. Implication: humanity just observed alien tech, and it slipped silently by. The object is actively observing us, but won't reveal itself unless provoked. Think: a cosmic drive-by scan. It collects electromagnetic data, signatures, maybe even biological markers. Evidence: jets forming directed motion, no random debris. Implication: Earth is being measured, not contacted. During closest approach, it will emit a single pulse. Optical, radio, or even gravimetric, possibly a message, a scan or a handshake signal. Evidence: blue shifted surface, precisely timed trajectory. Implication: we're not the target. The message isn't for us. It's for someone else, somewhere out there. 3i Atlas will break apart, not from natural pressure, but as a design dispersal. Objects may fly in separate directions, forming a scanning array. Evidence: jet symmetry, no tail, energy buildup. Implication: we're witnessing non-human engineering unfolding, in real time. The object is natural. The anomalies are observational error, exaggerated by hype and sparse data. It passes, no change. Mystery ends. Evidence lacking full spectrum confirmation. Implication: science moves on. But the questions remain. But the world will be watching. Telescopes on 6 continents, space-based sensors in Earth orbit, dozens of live streams, SETI stations tuned to unusual frequencies, artificial intelligence platforms analysing terabytes of raw tracking data. Even Skylive, Stellarium, and NASA's eyes on the solar system will update live for public tracking. And in labs at Harvard, Caltech, ESA, and amateur sheds across the globe, people will hold their breath. Because if anything happens, even a flicker, it could be the most important moment in human history. And if nothing happens, well, that doesn't mean the story ends. Because on March 16, 2026, Dr. Loeb's proposed intercept window with NASA's Juno spacecraft may still occur, depending on 3i Atlas's post-flyby trajectory. If redirected in time, Juno could make a slingshot maneuver toward the object, capturing high-resolution imagery during a close flyby. That would mean close-up surface maps, material analysis, jet source verification. Possibly so. Confirmation of natural versus artificial origin. The proposal is sitting on desks right now at NASA HQ. And still, the silence. NASA has yet to publicly release the high-rise images from October. No formal comment from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. No updates to the Public Horizons database explaining the maneuver. What are they seeing? And why aren't we allowed to see it too? Representative Anna Paulina Luna's request for image release has not yet been honoured. Congressional staffers report internal conflict between disclosure and caution. The public is waiting. The data is waiting. And December 19th is coming fast. Let's take a step back. Philosophically, what does all this mean? If 3i Atlas is natural, it still reshapes our understanding of interstellar chemistry, solar system dynamics, and material science. If it's artificial, everything changes. We are no longer simply watching the universe, we have become part of it, a data point in a larger map, observed, measured, and maybe, just maybe, understood. As Loeb put it, perhaps we're not the only ones building telescopes. And what if we are being watched? That phrase, once confined to science fiction, now sits on the edge of mainstream science. It no longer feels paranoid. It feels plausible. Consider this, a hyper-precise, non-random trajectory. Acceleration inconsistent with natural causes. 7 directed jets, nickel-rich, volatile, poor composition coloration, suggesting engineered reflectivity. A path aligned with Earth's orbital plane. Silence from major institutions, and a former chair of Harvard's astronomy department saying, "It manoeuvred." These aren't fragments of paranoia, they're data points, and so we return to the stars. Once again, they hold their secrets just out of reach. But maybe, just maybe, one of those secrets is about to whisper back. This story isn't ending, it's beginning. The countdown to December 19th, 2025 continues. And what happens next will either solve one of the greatest mysteries of our time or deepen it forever. The answer still lies in the vastness of the stars. If you want to follow this story as it continues to unfold, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel. I'll be covering the flyby live and releasing immediate breakdowns of any changes, images, or official statements, especially after December 19th, when we may finally see whether 3i Atlas is natural, fragmented, or something else entirely. Leave a comment below and tell me, what do you think 3i Atlas is? Will it break apart, release a probe, or silently pass us by? I read all your comments, and I'm really curious what you think. This mystery belongs to all of us. Let's figure it out together. Until then, keep your eyes on the skies, and remember, sometimes they're looking back.